The games use pieces to represent the individual units that move on the map. These pieces are called counters. You punch the counters out from the thick rectangular counter sheets they come in. But before you do that, let's look at the individual counter you see here, and I will explain what it tells you about this particular unit. The first thing to notice is the counter's background color. This shows the unit's nationality. In this case here, the gray indicates that it's a German unit. On the counter sheet, you'll see the names of the different nationalities along the side on the background of their nationality's color. Most nations' background color is based on the color of their field uniforms. In the top center of the piece is a large box. The symbol in this box tells you what type of unit the counter represents. In this case, the large X in the box means that it is an infantry unit, as opposed to, say, a cavalry or artillery unit, which have different symbols. Above the symbol box are markings that tell you the size of the unit. The two X's tell you that this unit is a division, which is about 7,500 men, commanded by a major general. To the left of the symbol box, we see the unit's designation. From this number, along with the unit type and size, we can tell that this is the German 3rd Infantry Division. On the bottom half of the counter are the unit's values. The number to the left shows the unit's strength, or relative combat power in terms of strength points. This particular unit has 8 strength points. The number to the right shows the unit's mobility in terms of movement points. Thus, this unit has 5 movement points. And in the upper right-hand corner is the unit's full strength circle. All units of the same type and nationality have the same colored circle with the same value. It shows the full strength value of divisions of this type and nationality. In this case, it is somewhat redundant, as it shows that full strength German infantry divisions have a strength of 8. Before we look at some more pieces, I need to tell you a little bit about how armies are organized. On the piece we had been looking at, I told you that the two X's above the symbol box meant that the counter represented a division. In these games, most units are in fact divisions, but some are larger or smaller units. The guide you see here shows the symbols for various sized units, these symbols over here on the left-hand side, and roughly what the makeup of each size of unit is. Note that army does not mean all of the land forces of a particular country. The land forces of a country are typically divided into numbered or named armies. An example of this is the famous American Third Army in World War II that was commanded by General Patton. Numbered or named armies are subdivided into corps, each of which typically contain 2 or 3 divisions. In turn, divisions are comprised of brigades and regiments. Now let's look at a number of other pieces from the Tannenberg introductory game. To the right of another German infantry division is a smaller German brigade. Based on its unit box, we know that this is also an infantry unit. The single X above the box means that it is a brigade. Notice that it only has a quarter of the combat strength of its sister division. The next unit to the right, here, is a Russian infantry division. You can tell this is a Russian unit right away because of the tan background color, as opposed to the German gray. There is no significance to the red Russian unit values. Russian uniforms used a combination of colors, and this is just a reflection of that. The next unit to the right is a German unit of a different type. From the type box containing the single slash, we know that this is a cavalry unit. In this case, it is the German 1st Cavalry Division. The type box is yellow because in the German army, the cavalry uses yellow on their insignia. And the last unit to the right is the Russian 3rd Cavalry Division. Russian and German units have different strengths due to the different equipment their divisions have, as well as the training and ability of their soldiers. German divisions had much more artillery, and their soldiers, and especially their NCOs and officers, were better trained than those in the World War I Russian army. Also, take a minute to look at the reverse side of unit counters. They show the unit at a reduced strength. Units are flipped over to reflect that they've taken losses. And we'll get into that when we get into the combat rules of the game. Just so you know, in other games of the series, you'll have more than just infantry and cavalry units. And here are some examples. The unit with the large dot in its symbol box is a German artillery regiment. The unit with the white E that is on its side, likewise, is a German engineering regiment. Here we see two headquarters. These kinds of units stand out because they use national flags instead of unit symbol boxes. Here we have the German 8th Army headquarters, and here below is the Russian 2nd Army headquarters. Notice that the strength value of headquarters are in parentheses. This means that these units cannot use their strength to attack. They have a defensive value only. Each headquarter has a corresponding supply marker. Next to the German 8th Army unit counter is the 8th Army's supply marker. This marker is placed on the supply track to show how much ammunition the headquarters has stockpiled. And we'll get into this when we discuss headquarters and supply. The next counter we will look at has a single value in parentheses. This is a fortress complex. Its symbol is a graphic of an aerial view of a typical fortress. To the left of the fort graphic is an abbreviation of the name of this complex, in this case Lotsen. To the right is the hex number that the complex exists in, and this is the hex that the Lotsen fortress counter is placed in when you set up the game. Fortresses do not have movement points since they are stationary installations. Their strength, in this case 16, is defensive only. Fortresses cannot attack, but if attacked, they will inflict losses on their attackers in proportion to their defensive strength. Lastly, let's look at some markers. The yellow bordered counter seen here is a strength reduction marker. This kind of marker is used to help show strength reductions that can't be accounted for by just flipping a unit over. Using the marker on this side will show that units underneath it have one less strength point than is reflected on their counter. Note that the reverse side of the strength reduction marker is bordered in red and is used to identify units that are half their printed strength. To the right here we see a demoralization or DM marker. This is the DM marker used to track German losses and other loss of morale. I'll explain how it's used in a later video. In addition to these markers, the players use the turn and phase markers to keep track of which turn it is and the current phase of the turn.